Hello, wild ones. This is Cole Adams, and I am getting ready for our state fair. The Fine Arts show at our state fair is one of the best-selling art shows I'm a part of each year, hopefully. And I've entered quite a few categories. So today is pack-up day and delivery day. So there's a whole bunch of art stuff that goes on post painting your work, and some of it is technical about framing and creating frames. I work on a lot of recycled canvases like cabinet doors, so those take a little bit more weirdness, and then there's a bunch of like just traditionally framed stuff. You also have to pack it up to get it to the art show location and take kind of a minute. So I have already electronically submitted to the fair. So what I like to do is print it out and take a highlighter and double check that I have each thing. I also reread through the descriptions of all the rules just in case I miss something. Like what needs to be written on the back of the painting is one that's not ever standardized, and some people want the price, some people don't, some people just want the name and your name, and I like to put my QR code for my YouTube channel. I like to I usually write enjoy on the back if someone's purchased it, because sometimes these go away and they don't come back to you. So you kind of have to be prepared for them to be then leaving. So the first piece I have on my list is an acrylic called Creating Community, and it is a little bit smaller, and I think it's right behind me. It is. When I finish paintings and seal them and make sure they're sides, I kind of check. I do one final check to make sure all the sides are painted how I want them, that the information on the back is correct, that the piece doesn't have any damage on it, and I get ready to pack it. And probably the funniest thing I did a couple years ago is I created a bag. A friend did a demo at art camp, and I did this lovely bag, which is a work of art in itself. It's so much fun to carry. I love it. But I kind of created it for the dropping off paintings because I'm always looking for a nice hefty bag that's kind of upper square. So this one works. I love that I put some pockets on the inside. Sometimes I carry this to art camp a lot too, and I like to take my first painting and put it away, like towards the back or towards the front. This is the smallest painting I'm bringing today, so it's gonna go in the very front, so farthest away from my body. I also have an old piece of yoga mat that I use as a stamp pad too, so it's got paint all over it. I have some tissue, and I have an old grocery sack to try to make sure everything's separated. Acrylic piece number 2 is Sailish Swirl, and Sailish Swirl. This one I painted. One of the coolest things I see as a wild swimmer is when it starts to rain, and because we're in Washington State, we get a lot of rainy swims. Thinking I'm gonna put its hardware back on, just because I think it'd be funny more than anything. So I think this one's gonna stay out of the bag for now, mainly because it's heavy. Now we're gonna go to the miniatures, and miniatures are always interesting. If you've been at shows where there's a bunch of tiny paintings, sometimes a whole show is just small works. My last few shows I've applied to have all been small works. And small works are great because it's a great way to get little art into your house, and it's a little bit more economical for both the artist and the painter, or in the person who buys it. This one's called Ephemeral Growth. It looks great on the back. The edges look good. Everything looks great. It's already been to a show, so I know it's kind of going to look good. So I'm going to put her in the bag just by herself, and then I think I'm going to use the tissue to wrap up all the miniatures and just put all the miniatures in the little bag so I can find them again. This one's called Moo. I just finished it. It makes me giggle. Sometimes the fair people like, I mean, a lot of the people who are coming to the fair are big agricultural people. So I did a little cow, and I used the ox, what is this? Iron oxide, Golden's all iron oxide gel. So he's like super textured, and when you look up close to him, he's really fun. And I put him in this really thick, I did a really thick cover over the top. So that's been fun. So that one looks good. This one looks good. This is a little Colorado Fire Mountain. It's already been to a show too, so I know it's fine. I'm going to throw it in a piece of tissue, and I'm going to put Moo in there, but I'm going to put him kind of back to back in tissue with this one. And I think the final one is the most delicate. And I also just finished, some of you who saw the Would-Be Island video might have seen this Salish seal come to life. That was done just last month. And the edges on this one are interesting because he kind of pops out and is over. So I finished the back of him similar to the edges of the piece. I really like to follow the piece around the edges. And because this is kind of interesting, there's a thickness requirement. So I just stacked two of the kind of cheapo beepo canvases together, and then use some fiber paste on the edges to make sure the edges look like one piece. I really love how he turned out. This is always the thing when I'm like, I kind of hope he doesn't sell so I get to have some more time with him. A little bit more tissue, and they're all ready to go. They're going to go into a different bag, probably with my sculpture piece. And so I'll show you this bag too. This is another one I made. I used, this one's a little bit floppier, and I put a like flat of pop bottom. It's just a cardboard bottom that fits right in the bottom. And this was patterned off of an IKEA bag. The next category, I have some work to do because in this category, they require you to bring a note of all the techniques you did. So I'm going to actually pause you guys to go through the next three, which are the Selkie. This is a lure, a silky woman. I will make sure I get a full size of her, but she is wearing a mermaid lure where she's putting on a seal coat and getting ready to go into the sea for the night and swim around. You can tell that I'm super inspired by mythical creatures, and I'm super inspired by anything to do with the water. Actually, I went to a mermaid museum maybe last year with my mom, and I wrote down all the different names to research. It was really fun, and I'm kind of inspired to do one of each. I need to make sure I take great pictures because that would be a fun series of postcards. This is one of my watercolor and ink entries, and it's kind of a fantasy idea of what I'm gonna see on the fjords in Norway. I wanted to paint a little hermitage and enjoy.
Meat cupcake. I am in love with this little bird. Oh my gosh. Made of many years of walking and collecting trash on the beach. And I have like a little pile. Well, I have a little spot in my house for pretty trash. And just years of wanting to sculpt in a way that feels really true to my other artwork. And I know she's odd, but I just love her. And she feels really real. She feels really kind of where I wanted to head with sculpture. I think I finally kind of cracked the code. So I look forward to sculpting more. And I love her, and I hope she finds a good home. Art moving trick for you. This is a blanket I sewed into fourths, an old blanket that I thrifted, and I just sewed it on the fold, kind of a little bit in from the fold, and it holds 4 paintings worth of, it has a pouch for 4 paintings. So there's painting 1, there's painting 2, and I think my friend's gonna bring one to put in it, so we're gonna have a 3rd painting in there, and I have the rest in the other bag.
I hope you enjoyed the sneak peek into my paintings for the Washington State Fair and how I get them all there safely. I hope you're liking and subscribing to this content and enjoying yourself. And if you are, please tell a friend. And stay weird, stay wild, and keep painting. Whoa, you just had an oopsies. I just kicked the stand I had you balanced on, and you went flying. But you're back to normal. Okay, you're all okay?